Ruud van Nistelrooy will manage his final game as interim Manchester United boss on Sunday. Van Nistelrooy was appointed on an interim basis after Erik ten Hag's sacking and has overseen wins against Leicester and PAOK and a draw against Chelsea. The Dutchman was asked how proud he'd be of ending his role with an undefeated record and said, "It was very important after I took over to get what I call stabilising the ship with results. All of a sudden, we're 3 games into that, it passes so quickly, and the last one will mean a lot." United beat Leicester as recently as last week in the Carabao Cup, but the two sides meet again in the Premier League on Sunday, and United fans will hope for the same outcome. Van Nistelrooy made 3 changes to the starting team to face PAOK, and it will be interesting to see which players he selects to give him the best chance of going out on a high dot. Andre Onana is a certainty to start in between the sticks, and the only contentious point in the fullback area is whether Diogo Dalot will start on the left or the right. Noussair Mazraoui is enjoying an excellent season and can play on either side, but Dalot has struggled on the left. Lisandro Martinez and Matthijs de Ligt were rested against PAOK, which gave Johnny Evans and Victor Lindelof a chance, but the former will be recalled. Van Nistelrooy recently described his options in midfield as thin. Kobbie Mainoo is making progress in his recovery from injury, but is still not ready to be involved, which means Manuel Ugarte, Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes are likely to retain their starting roles. Christian Eriksen and Mason Mount returned off the bench against PAOK and have strengthened United's options. Rasmus Højlund was quiet in the Europa League on Thursday, touching the ball just 10 times in the first half, but it would be a surprise to see Joshua Zirkzee start over him against Leicester. Ahmad delivered a man-of-the-match performance against PAOK and is expected to start again, providing he is given the green light to feature after appearing to hurt his foot. The youngster confirmed he was fine when interviewed after the game, but Van Nistelrooy insisted the wide man was being assessed by the medical staff at his pre-match press conference. With Ahmad and Højlund set to start, that leaves Alejandro Garnacho and Marcus Rashford to fight for the final starting position, and the latter seems likely to receive the nod this weekend. Garnacho looks like he could benefit from a rest, and Rashford started on the bench against PAOK. Predicted Tekken versus Leicester. Onana, Mazraoui, de Ligt, Martinez, Dalot, Ugarte, Casemiro, Fernandes, Ahmad, Højlund, Rashford. Under the grey skies of Manchester, Leny Yoro's boots hit the grass again, and with each step, the hum of the crowd seemed to pulse through the walls of Old Trafford. The young Frenchman, only 18, but burdened by months of waiting, laced up and jogged onto the training ground, welcomed back into the fold by his teammates and coaches. His heart raced, just as it had when he first donned United's famous red shirt in his mind, now finally within reach in reality. Captain Bruno Fernandes stood watching from the sidelines, a rare moment of calm before training began. Seeing Yoro out there again, Fernandes couldn't help but grin. It wasn't long before he posted a quick reaction on Yoro's Instagram post, a heart-eyed emoji, a small nod of brotherhood from the skipper to the young defender. It was as if the whole United spirit, the roar of past victories and the hope of future ones coursed through that simple icon. With every sprint, Yoro pushed harder, his determination visible in every stride. The young defender knew his chance would come, and when it did, he would be ready. His phone buzzed throughout the day, old friends and new sending encouragement. Angel Gomes, his former Lille teammate and fellow hopeful, commented with a warm, "He's back." Even United legend Rio Ferdinand jumped in with a fire emoji, a stamp of approval from one of the greats. Yoro could feel their support like a hand on his shoulder, grounding him, urging him forward. The sessions were rigorous, with interim boss Ruud van Nistelrooy overseeing every drill. Van Nistelrooy's presence on the sidelines was steady, filled with the wisdom of battles fought and won at Old Trafford. With each drill, Yoro felt his muscles awaken, his injury a distant memory, and the field around him feeling more like home than ever. As his birthday approached, he looked ahead with new resolve. His 19th year would begin here, at United, where the future awaited. The clock ticked towards Thursday's Europa League match against PAOK, and though Yoro knew he might still have to wait for his debut, the fire in him only burned brighter. His return wasn't just about reclaiming his place, it was about proving that he belonged here, alongside legends, with dreams that stretched across the pitch. Leny Yoro was back his journey as a Red was just beginning, and with every heartbeat, the stadium seemed to whisper, "Welcome home." Ruud van Nistelrooy has told Rasmus Højlund to have more faith in his own abilities as he prepares to try and form a crucial part of Ruben Amorim's Manchester United side. Højlund is United's leading striker, but he remains a raw number 9 and has 18 goals in 53 appearances for the club so far. A goal-scoring centre-forward is a key pillar in the system Amorim has used at Sporting, and he has helped Victor Gyökeres develop into one of Europe's most sought-after attackers. The 26-year-old scored a hat-trick in Sporting's 4-1 Champions League win against Manchester City on Tuesday night, taking his tally for the season to 23 goals in 17 games and 66 in 67 games since he moved to Lisbon from Coventry City. Gyökeres has a €100 million release clause in his contract, and since Amorim's appointment as United's next head coach, he has been linked with a move to Old Trafford. However, the club spent £72 million on signing Højlund from Atalanta and £36.5 million on 23-year-old Joshua Zirkzee, who hasn't scored since his debut in August. Ruud van Nistelrooy's spell as interim manager will end after this week's fixtures against PAOK on Thursday and Leicester City on Sunday. He offered Højlund some advice on fulfilling his potential, with the former United striker insisting he believes the Dane can take his game to the next level. Stay calm and believe in himself. Believe in his qualities like I do, like his teammates do, he said. He knows he's young, he's promising, it's daily work which he's putting in, which in the end will pay off, not only for him but also for his teammates. I'm confident in that. Højlund has 2 goals in 10 games this season and had only 1 touch in the Chelsea penalty area at the weekend, winning a penalty when he poked the ball around goalkeeper Robert Sanchez. Van Nistelrooy accepts there will be times when the 21-year-old has to drop deep, but wants him in the box as often as possible to help change games. Most goals are scored in the penalty area. That's where we want to get our players as much as we can, he said. It depends on the games. There have been games we arrived many times and created many chances. We couldn't convert them all, and that cost us a couple of results. You have to deal with the circumstances. When he needs to hold up play and get players into third-man positions and play on from there, he does a brilliant job. He's a guy who can change a game in a second. Amorim quote. Sporting side has scored 35 goals in 10 league games this season, and his forwards have been prolific. Van Nistelrooy believes that can be carried over to the United side and blame their woes in front of goals, with just 9 in 10 Premier League games, on missing chances rather than not creating them. I don't agree that we didn't create enough chances, he said. I think if you look at the statistics, we're one of the teams that's creating the most chances. It's the conversion. That's why I said I'm not worried. We're creating the chances. With the talent we have, they are still young. There is lots of potential. When results keep coming, confidence will rise, and that's the key thing with scoring goals, confidence. Ahmad scored twice in a man-of-the-match performance to put some much-needed excitement back into Manchester United's season against PAOK. United struggled to fashion much against the Greek champions in the first half, as Ahmad saw a strong shout for a penalty rejected by VAR, but the young winger broke the deadlock 5 minutes into the second half when he looped home a header from Bruno Fernandes' deep cross. Tarek Tissoudali spurned a golden opportunity for PAOK to equalise when he fired a tame shot into the gloves of Andre Onana after being found in the penalty area. Just as things were beginning to grow nervy inside Old Trafford, Ahmad struck again, stealing back possession before curling into the far corner from the edge of the area. After 3 straight draws, United have finally secured a win in the Europa League to get their campaign back on track by beating a side who have just 1 point in the Europa League this season and have won just 6 of their 10 games in the Greek top flight. They are up to the dizzy heights of 15th in the Europa League table. RUU Van Nistelrooy has one final game as interim manager this weekend against Leicester before handing over the reins to Ruben Amorim. Here are the talking points. Manchester United's front line are full of promise, but they simply aren't delivering. Alejandro Garnacho 20 and Rasmus Højlund 21 are far from the finished article, and they showed again why they should not be starting week after week for a club of the stature of United. Ahmad was undoubtedly the brightest of the lot in the first half as he tried to audition for a starting role, running at the defence from the right wing while drifting inside and linking nicely with Bruno Fernandes. But his dummy of a pass with no one waiting behind him on the stroke of half-time summed up United's lack of cutting edge in the first 45 minutes. They went in at half-time having managed just 1 shot on target. A tame header from Højlund from a pinpoint Ahmad delivery to PAOK's 2, with Højlund touching the ball just 10 times and completing just 3 passes in 45 minutes. Such a drab performance should have been met with a furious reaction from the home fans at Old Trafford, but instead the reaction to the whistle was more a familiar side. Ahmad is not known for his ability in the air, but it was his enthusiasm and desire to impress which was evident as Fernandes swung across to the back post. The 5'6" winger jumped as high as he could, strained his neck muscles and redirected the ball towards the back post. He was delighted to see it drop in. The second was even better. Ahmad pinched the ball off former Chelsea left-back Baba Rahman, drove forward and curled into the far corner via a helpful deflection. It was Ahmad's first start in over a month. He has struggled to make an impact while coming off the substitutes bench into a team devoid of confidence. United fans will hope that a second and third goal of the season can be a springboard towards better, more consistent things. United had clearly lost their way under Erik ten Hag, who frequently batted away reasonable criticism about the lack of a clear playing style or identity with feeble excuses. The club obviously hopes that the arrival of Amorim on Monday will help define this team, but for now they are still lacking a coherent approach with, and without the ball. Before kick-off, Van Nistelrooy was asked on TNT Sports whether criticism of the team's lack of style hurt him. "I didn't hear it, but when you tell me now, it's not of the biggest importance," he replied. "Of course, I want to have the players on the pitch to play at their best. Then you have to make a formation to play and a formation to defend and work on different skills. But I think confidence is such a big thing in football. Sometimes when the confidence is low and results are against you, it affects performances and style. On this evidence, that confidence will take some time to return." The performance was lacking, but United did at least finally win a match in a European competition. Coming into this fixture, United had tasted victory in just one of their last 11 matches in Europe, having drawn all 3 of their Europa League games this season. Their frailties have been extremely obvious in the competition, and remarkably, this was their first win in 380 days in Europe. Finally, with Ahmad firing, they have something to be hopeful and excited about. Højlund has now gone another game without a goal. Marcus Rashford was brought off the bench for Garnacho, but was barely involved in the match. Joshua Zirkzee stayed on the bench even later, appearing in the 90th minute, as Van Nistelrooy gave minutes to the returning Mason Mount, instead after Ahmad needed a rest on 80 minutes. United Quotes attack has been badly misfiring in the Premier League, where only Southampton and Crystal Palace have managed fewer than their tally of 9 goals this season. Starting berths are up for grabs ahead of Amorim's arrival.